Good morning.
Good
Good day
morning
to you all.
Liwanag dito sa amin, ha?
Oh,
It's a
Liwanag.
bright sunny day.
parang
So-
ang araw, summer na. Talagang
Summer
very
na summer.
intense
End of
ang ating
summer,
sun.
Yeah, iba yung init ng La Union ngayon. Tabing dagat kasi.
Yes.
But anyway, the sun is always shining. So we always look forward to that.
Yes. Good morning.
The
Gabi
sunshine.
Tan and
Yung ano
Gemini
niya.
Rose.
Yeah, good
They're
morning
here
sa inyo lahat.
already.
Alright. Magandang umaga.
Zaldi is also watching. Hi, Zaldi. Welcome
Ano mo,
to the
sa,
show.
sa buhay natin di ba? We talk about last time,
Mothers.
mothers. So ngayon, we talk about family naman.
Yes.
Next month, Fathers.
Ah.
June, sa Fathers
Bukas.
naman.
Bukas ba yung 15? May 15 is International Day for Families. Oo. So that's why we
Yeah.
want to talk about families and what impacts our families. Oo.
Kasi
Yeah.
talagang very important factor ang family,
Of course,
hindi
oo.
ba? Talagang yan ay kailangan maganda ang ating tanawin, maganda yung foundation din ng ating understanding of what the family is.
Yes.
Oo, para lang dito tayo magkakaroon ng influence eh. The
Right,
first
oo.
influencer
Tsaka in the world
is
we
the
live in,
family.
Di ba itong mundo to, napakagulo, chaos and confusion. But if you have the family, it acts as your life vest, in order to float through all the storms in life, mga
Oh,
floods.
you have to have
problems.
your support systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was designed that way. It was geared this way in all cultures in the past. Nakikita natin yan. From family units to tribals to community to all of these components.
Yes.
You see, if a family is together, the togetherness can go. You can spread that to
Yeah,
your
yeah.
neighbors.
Yes. Lahat can, actually, because we all belong to one big family. In truth, yeah. But you mentioned unit, sabi nga ng iba, ang family unit, remember, it starts with you and I. No? Lahat tayo kasali dyan.
Oo nga. Kung
The family
even in the Bible, we are told that the family is really all of the children of God. Marami yan, no?
Oo.
Kaya very wide ang perspective natin din when it comes to seeing who are our relatives. No? Lahat tayo meron spirit of brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a common ground.
Family
Kung baga, ang family, hindi lang by blood.
Correct.
No, it's by love,
Correct.
that binds us together.
Oo.
Yeah, pagmamahalan. Kasi tayo, the family is the very, you know how the circle works, where you start to express yourself, but based on a higher truth, which is based on truth, which is a loving relationship. That's where it all
Higher
begins.
connection. Oo.
Right.
Actually, meron akong story na yung teacher ko, nilapitan siya ng isang student, tapos she's a single parent kasi naanakan siya. And then, so she had one young boy. So sabi niya, paano na lang yung anak ko? Sabi niya ganun, lalaki na walang tatay. So sabi ng teacher, sabi niya, you have many uncles and aunties.
Dami.
You have many uncles and aunties. Kumbaga, your family is so big, you know. And sometimes even you feel a stronger bond with somebody who's not a blood relative,
Yes,
di ba?
oo.
Malaki yung tulong na binibigay ng tao.
Right, oo.
Sa,
Kaya nga in many practices, even cultures today, there are, your son or your children are not only yours, but that's why you have uncles and aunties, and that you need to spend some time, or at least your children would spend some time with their relatives, their uncles, their aunties, to reinforce their education and learning.
Yeah.
Kasi sa social fiber ng buhay, nakikita natin, how do you share in the very beginning? Kasi siyempre, parents who are who look after their children very well, the next connection is their relatives.
Yes. Tsaka kasi, when we talk about family, it's not just the people who live together in the same house. It goes beyond our boundaries of place, di ba?
Kaya nga minsan, di ba, may mga reunions na tinatawag. Then
Yeah.
nakikilala mo dyan yung mga, distant relative na ganito, na ganyan. Tapos, normally, in a setting like this, there's always a core group
No.
of relatives that still stay together and work
Yeah.
together. They
At saka
share a
yung-
common ground.
Yung glue that binds them together, talaga yung pagmamahalan.
Oo.
Kaya ngayon, maraming families na we don't live together in the same place, but we are strongly bound together.
Yes.
No?
When you speak in cultures, you find this. You will find cultures that are very strong. You can see in how the cultural thing works from the time they're young. Alam mo, the other day I was talking to a friend. He was telling me, kasi ano siya, Chinese. He's a businessman. And he was saying, oh, my son now has this friends, ganito yung friends niya. Iba, mga connections. And they're like about 10 or 12 of them. But their parents,
Barkada.
their fathers and mothers, makakilala kami, magkakaibigan din kami. So they work that same unit.
Oo.
Together.
Parang one big family na sila.
Then
Oo.
eventually, when they grow up, they're going to have to be managing whatever they have,
Oo.
and they sustain it as a group. So within that interrelationship ng mga kaibigan at kamag-anak,
Oo.
it's not just about nurturing one another, but it's also in the line of business where they help each other prosper and grow. Kung may nahihirapan,
Begin
tinutulungan.
small, tapos lumalaki siya, no? Nag-grow.
Actually, sa mga communities, let's say even Indian community, I heard, pag merong dayo na from their country, India, punta sa Pilipinas, they make sure tutulungan nila yung tao.
Yes.
Yun, very nice.
Yun,
So
May
let's-
support
settle down.
system.
Let's greet our ating mga kasama. Thomas from Angeles. Good morning, Thomas. Tapos Vina
Oo,
Pascua.
naimbag na bigat.
Naimbag na bigat from
Gerald G. Sanchez saying Happy Mother's Day and missing us, all of us. Hello then. Love you too. And then si Henry.
friend Harry Yumol. Harry.
Yes, Harry, yes.
Emila Iroya, good morning to you. Josephine de Belen, good morning.
Mhm.
You know, so,
Abelina Aguas and
Ang dami.
Dixie Palmos and Elvira Espiritu as well as
Ligaya
Ligaya Dizon.
Dizon.
Oh,
Magandang
yung
umaga
sarap
sa
naman
inyo.
makasama
Good
kayo.
morning sa inyong lahat.
Kapamilya kayo lahat.
mm,
Kapamilya ng Go Palakas. Okay.
so when we talk about family, even in the higher levels of leadership, there was a time na sinubukan natin magkaroon ng isang united, all the countries are united. There was the pursuit of peace. Tingnan nyo, if the family is together, there's peace. If they talk and work with one another, pag may peace, may prosperity.
Yeah. Mhm.
Kahit sa bahay, the responsibility of the magulang is always to make sure that there's peace.
Oo.
There's tranquility
At
and
least
silence going
nag-uusap
on.
sila, oo.
Nag-uusap. Sometimes when you hear about how relatives, stories of families that break apart because of things that hindi sila kasi nag-uusap eh.
Oo.
Or
hindi magkasundo.
hindi magkasundo.
Hindi magbigayan.
Very sad.
It all breaks apart. And on the end of the day, when there's fragmentation, then you lose the wholeness. Ito may saying ito, in nature, it is the wholesomeness of the environment that creates sustainability and thriving. It thrives, no? So, and it's when everybody takes part and contributes that the sustainability component will be there. But when fragmentation takes place, kunyari, paano yung ganon?
So, kailangan hindi tayo mag-break
Division.
apart.
Mayroong-
fragmentation.
Kailangan there's always an
Division.
effort to
Break
reach out to
To reach
each
out to
other.
stay together. That's the key.
Hindi,
because-
kahit nga hindi kayo nasa same place, but meron pa rin kayong connection.
Yes, the
with
common
each
ground,
other.
the
Eh,
connectivity.
Anong
Yes.
suggestion natin para hindi kunyari, nagkaroon ng conflict sa family, di ba? O minsan kahit may conflict ang husband and wife, naririnig ng mga bata.
Oo, at
nagkakaroon-
nararamdaman nila yan.
may influence din yun sa mga bata. So, paano kaya sinasabi natin hindi magkaroon ng nurturing, magkaroon ng
Actually,
harmony.
it begins again on the end. It's the family upbringing.
Oo.
That's a key
The
there.
basic
There's a basic
ingredient of-
ingredient.
Knowing who you are also.
Kaya
right?
nga, even Diba, may commandment, you honor your father and your mother.
Respect.
Respect
Yes,
yan eh. It begins there eh. Because by nature, tayo, kunyari, if you go to like here, you can appreciate how all the different trees, living entities, all the biodiversity of different living entities interacting with one another, helping one another survive and sustain whatever they need to do. So similarly, in family units, there are learned truth. Yung kumbaga may katotohanan na yan eh. Hindi naman tayo kulang sa katotohanan na mag-guide sa atin.
Oo.
May wisdom dyan eh. Kaya nga tayo ang nakakalanghap nun. So if we make that as the core value of our family, then everybody embraces that same deep-rooted core value na based on wisdom. So their
Importante,
actions
ano eh,
are dictated with reasons and proper, kumbaga na, respect. Kaya when you discuss this matter amongst each other as a family unit, that's the one that you ano eh. That's the one you kind of will, as a parent, you will focus on. It grows from within.
Yeah, we need to focus on what keeps the family together. And di ba, kasibehan nga, a family that prays together stays together. So this is a very important factor, no, in keeping us together.
So
We
it
need
is,
to always know you and you and you and I, we are all children of God. So we treat each other with love and respect.
so yung kumbaga spirituality is what binds everybody together, no? Hindi
Yun
yung
dapat ang focus.
Yeah, by
natin.
nature, we're
Oo.
spirit eh. Common ground yun eh. And that's what puts us together. And when we have that relationship, yung interaction natin, the foundation of that is not based on whether you're physically this way or may mga components na gano'n. Kasi kadalasan, a lot of this influences the way we think eh. And the way we actuate with one another. Our social interaction is based on your status in the society, your position, or may mga gano'n eh. May mga labels tayong ginagawa eh.
Oo,
So when we
huwag tayo
start-
magle-label ng
Yeah, when you
isa't
start to
isa.
see things based on labels, then that's when fragmentation begins. When we
Oo.
talk about fragment. Ngayon, like now, the world is fragmented. Unang-una, let's say every country, this is unfortunate, no? When sometimes you look back to documentary or histories of how the world, they use this, anyway, how the world has been seen. Di ba? Many times tayo, if you look back to 200, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, wala pa, di ba? Yung mga galleon trade, lahat, hindi ba? This is when people cannot stand staying in their place and just stay there and work with your culture. You know,
Naghahanap
focus.
sila ng
So,
more from
resource,
across the
naging,
seas.
naging resource yung intention
Why?
nila. Di
Eh,
ba?
paano naman? Dun sa
So,
mga
ngayon-
lugar nila, walang masarap kainin.
Hindi, so
They had
ngayon,
to come all the way here to get salt and spices.
and,
Can you imagine? Yak!
and
Ito lang
tapos
ba
pala,
kakainin natin?
tapos, siyempre,
I want
yung,
something tasty.
yung parang the wintering, may tawag doon eh, yung mga wintering moods.
Depressed
Depression.
sila, kulang sa vitamin D.
Kulang sa sunshine. May mga ganun yan eh. So
Wala
anyway,
their
point us,
vitamin C,
wag na
D.
tayo masyado, but yung, pag makita niyo yung mga ganyan na uri sa historical, when they come to a particular beautiful place, it can be Africa or India or the Philippines for that
Yeah.
matter, the fragmenting mentality becomes, kaya may away.
At saka yung,
Pinag-aaway yung
Own-
resource.
yung mining industry,
Right.
this is mine. I want this
So,
place.
Uy,
Ito
Sila
yung,
kanila.
online selling, mine.
so that's why you end up with there has to be a referee.
Mm.
Kaya nagkakaroon ng mga digmaan eh. If you analyze the digmaan, it all has to do with resources.
Ayun na nga.
Up to now.
They forget who they are. That they
Right.
are not the owner, controller, or
So
enjoyer.
it breaks the unity. Eh.
Ay,
All it takes is one. Eh. Then you break the whole respect and mutual talking to one another. So this is where, again, you go
kailangan
back.
tulungan. Remind
How-
each other.
How have people become or put themselves in such a state of
Mindset,
consciousness?
oo.
And even if a leader is the one just initially thinking, okay, I'm going to conquer this country and everything, but he is so influential that even all the citizens in his country start following what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, you finally find millions of people joining the fragmentation.
Yes, you
Diba?
fragment. You start to isolate yourself. We're different from everybody. So pag nagkakaroon ng ganyan, wala
Kulang
nang
sa
unity.
vision. Wrong vision.
Wala nang unity. And it's more of my interest, I protect your interest. Sometimes becomes my interest too. Or many times.
Lahat
See,
sa
this is
akin.
that consciousness.
Yes.
So when in a family, peace begins when they're sharing.
Yan.
This is
Oo.
part of it. Kasi we're all like here in the forest, for example, in this forested area. If you look at some of the huge trees, ang lalaki ng mga puno, you go, but they're only 10-year-olds, no? Pero they're so huge. Pag sinabi mo, saan kaya kumuha ng resource yung mga puno at naging ganyan kalaki? Hindi naman sila namamalengke. Hindi naman sila nagpupunta sa tindahan at pumupunta sa agricultural na kailangan bigyan sila ng fertilizer. They stood their ground and grew and grew and grew, living with the elements and interacting amongst all the other living beings within their given system. So
Yun ang maganda sa nature, no? Yung tree
Yeah.
niya, ang laki niya, pero it's not like, I'm the boss around here and everything belongs to me.
Yeah.
Hindi, siya yung namimigay sa
Sharing.
lahat.
namimigay.
Diba yung sabi mo,
Oo.
may giving tree.
The giving
Yes,
forest
trees
ang
are
tawag.
always giving.
Yes.
Oo.
Oo.
They give shade, they give food,
They give
shelter,
food, water, they
lahat.
give
Oo.
oxygen. So
Pero
makikita
sa tao,
natin.
minsan yung, I'm the big guy around here.
Yeah, siyempre,
He
may
wants
mga
it all.
Oo, kaya
We have to learn from nature.
Pag may ganon, I mean, nature is already teaching us.
Yes.
But
Kailangan, some of us are not good
yet,
students.
yet nature is just one
Medyo
particular
mabagal tayo
component.
mag-pick up.
It's just one particular component. Makikita nyo the creativity, that how the designer created such systems that they can interact, and this is how it's going to be successful. But yet, when you start to go there and exploit and fragment the whole system, that's when the deterioration
Yeah.
takes place. Similarly, in a family unit,
Oo,
when,
sana naman
alam mo, di ba may ganito ako,
ayusin natin.
the mom is always counting the heads. Parang mga manok yan nagbibilang ng mga sisiw palagi yan, ano? Si ama naman, ang nagbibigay ng tatag. Yung accountability nandun May ganyan But syempre sa modern time, multi-role na yung mga magulang because of the changing systems that takes place, that's taking place in our society. But similarly, the strength, there's such a thing in nature, strength in numbers.
Mga nahuhulog po yan ng mga branches.
Huwag niyo alalahanin yan.
Naririnig ninyo.
Yung mga ano yan
Oh,
mainit kasi
branches,
naguhulog
bola.
na mga, alam niyo yung hulog na yan minsan,
Hulog ng langit.
seeds yun
Oo,
mga bunga.
pantanim namin.
Dadating na yung tag-ulan, tingnan nyo, see, in nature, the trees are, namulaklak na sila
Oo.
Ngayon,
At saka
nagbunga na.
nagbabagsak ko sila ng branches kasi, di ba, normally, their branches are used for cooking. Binibigyan nila tayo ng mga resources nila.
Ano yata yung nahuhulog? Mga seeds. Kung branches yan, baka umiilag na kami ngayon.
Then minsan, twigs, maliliit lang.
Nakikisama po yung nature sa usapan natin ngayon. Kaya may contribution din sila.
Pinupuri ko naman sila palagi Sabi ko, kayo ang bida.
And you notice the trees, walang away,
In a
walang
family,
ingay.
it's acknowledging also the contribution that each individual makes, no? If you appreciate and you acknowledge, oy, ito, natulong naman sa atin. Yan ang maganda.
Tsaka, there's strength in numbers nga Every
Diba?
person
Tulong.
plays a role
United we stand, divided we fall.
Right.
Diba may mga quotations
Kasabihan na
from-
ganun.
Tsaka when you're talking about sharing in the family, it's not just sharing resources, but also sharing the things that we need to do. Diba? The
Ano lang yan?
responsibilities is also
You share
Yes.
the very essence of that is you share love.
Mm-mm.
Definitely.
Pag may love,
That's
may
our
happiness.
foundation.
Oo.
Pag walang pagmamahal at pagbibigayan at caring, malungkot,
Doon na nga
sadness,
magkakaroon ng
and
fragmentation.
fragmentation.
Kailangan lagi maganda yung communication between
So, batiin
people.
natin yung ating mga nakikinig.
Friends, our
Elvira
friends.
Espiritu, good morning. Ligaya, good morning to you.
And Anne,
And Manzano Oler.
yes.
Okay. And Matt Resurrection, nakasama niya si Vish at saka si Henry. Hello. And our
And Janet.
friend,
Hello,
Friend
Janet.
Janet,
Hello.
Jen Shiva, Lakbay Gulay, and Angel Gonzalo. Good morning. Mag-comment lang kayo. I-share. Okay?
Yung family. Pero alam mo, yung sinabi mong communication, one thing that helps resolve fragmentation in the family is when there's a problem, bring it up and talk about it.
Discuss.
Discuss it wisely, not emotionally, but wisely.
With reason.
With good reason, from a spiritual point of view, from the platform of love.
Oo.
Laging,
And caring.
very objective, very,
At
maganda
kalmado, not when you're angry.
It's the
Calm down
consciousness, guys.
first,
So
and
that's
then
why at
pag-usapan.
home, okay, the value. Okay, let's say as a parent, what is the most important thing you ever teach your child? I mean, let's measure it. Ano pinaka-importante i-analyze natin? Many of the things that we have, that we may have higher education or type of education, facilities of comfort, di ba? Maraming ganun, palaging naging ganyan yung common interaction and relationship ng isa't isa. So the tendency is you start to become, you lose track of the very essence of what interrelationship should be, the foundation ng relationship. So this is done at home.
Yeah.
Again, you go back, respect, simplicity, there's, caring, there's loving, there's sharing, and you will find a lot of this already is being shown to us in so many ways, in so many angles, yung pag-aaral na ganito, at saka yung values na niyakap na in-embrace natin. And if this is something that we can teach a child at home or somebody else's child, and you start to impart and share and learn and add to this child's education and upbringing, then you help the child to be a successful child.
Correct. Happy and
Speaking
successful.
about children, nabasa ko na may article. Yung ibang magulang, syempre medyo, di ba kakatapos lang ng elections natin, so there are people who won, there are people who did not win, and there are those who are depressed that yung gusto nilang manalo, hindi nanalo. So some parents are saying, what are we going to tell our kids now, Parang we thought we fought for this and fought for that, pero talo tayo, ganyan. Well, one of the things we need to teach our children, I believe, is we should be happy with whatever we have now, and we just have to learn how to keep going, how to make the best of what we have. Yeah, just like,
Milay.
somebody said this.
Yes.
Milay said, happiness will never come to those who fail to appreciate what they already have.
Yes.
Let's be happy with what we have right now. Huwag na tayong maging depressed. Let's just, get up and go.
Yes. Oo.
Tulungan tayo.
Yes. So actually, yung sinasabi mong kanina yung about teaching children, the basics, of the wisdom,
Yes.
May kinento kasi si Tito Toby kanina yung kahit sa pagkain, that story for me, sabi ko, basic lang yan. Turuan yung children how to think, how to appreciate what is good, Can I
Tell them because also they'll understand.
You want to be the one to
No.
Ako na lang magsabi.
Okay.
I had a group of boys this morning before coming here. They're young. They're between 11 to
13,
13,
14.
14. So,
We're having a little boys camp.
yeah. So,
Konti lang kasi. Distancing.
when the parents sent them here, they were kind of afraid na magutom,
Yung mga bata.
mga bata. So, they sent boxes of
As in, parang balikbayan ba?
chichirias. Yeah.
Oh.
So, dito sa amin, we live by basics We grow what we eat.
Yeah.
But most of all,
We eat it as natural as possible.
and
the way nature
the growing,
intended. Oo.
the way we do what we're doing is you have a great appreciation of
Nature.
and who gave it to you and how it was produced. So may ganyan eh. No? So I'm explaining this to them. I've been doing this slowly for them. So kanina umaga, sabi ko, okay, nandyan yung pakwan, nandito si papaya, nandito si
kamote.
saging, si kamote,
Ah,
sa isang tray. So sabi ko doon sa isang estudyante, ilabas mo yung baon mo. So
Mga stash niya.
dala niya si Nissan chocolate sweetened crackers na nakabalot. So pinatabi ko ngayon. Okay. All the students were surrounding, nakikita nila sa gitna. Eh. Okay, sabi ko, okay. Inisa-isa ko sila. Anong sustansya dito sa kakainin nito? What's good for you? So, lahat sila, siyempre, patingin sila doon.
Red flag. What will I say? Paano na
Wise
stash
thing
ko?
to answer.
Kaya alam nyo, ako, I don't like to be the one trying to tell them, ito, huwag nyo kakainin ito, kasi mas gusto ko,
Nag-isip sila.
iisipin nila, habang bata sila, iisip nila. So sabi ng isa, fruits is very healthy. Food, nutritious. Bata lang, 10-year-old. Tapos, yung isa, sir, junk food. Pag binasa nyo, kikita nyo naman lahat yan. Kasi, sir, there's plenty of sugar, additives, yung mga gano'n yung sasalita nila. So
Iba-ibang
finally,
boys yun, no? Isa lang.
iba-iba.
Oo.
So it's nice when you see them interact. Eh.
Yes.
You know, so
Oo.
you bring it out of them. You know, sila yung you talk reason kasi you just bring them to a point where you have to learn to be reasonable on a young age and make decisions. Oh, ba't ko kakainin yan? So may nagsabi, ay, junk pala yan. So, ba't nyo ilalagay sa katawan natin yung basura? Yung gano'n, may nagsalita na gano'n. So, ginagawa nyo palang basurahan yung katawan ninyo. Yung ganyan, kasi basura lang yung kinakain nyo. Junk. Kaya, di ba? Junk, basura yun, di ba? Oo nga. So, isip-sip na naman lahat sila. Pero,
Analyzing.
ina-analyze sila. But ito kasi maging almusal na yung prutas at kamote at may oats yung gano'n. Tapos, sabi ko nga, alam niyo,
Ano epekto?
yung anong effect?
Mhm.
Alam niyo? Pati tayong isip nila magiging junk.
Matalino.
May nagsalita
Marunong
nga,
mag-isip.
11-year-old. Sir, pati yung isip namin magiging junk pag junk yung kinakain namin. O sige, tahimik na lang ako. Tapos sabi ko nga, doon sinabi ko yung laki ng mga puno rito. Nakikita niyo ba kung ano kinakain ng malalaking puno? Yung kaya lumalaki yung katawan nila. So, hindi naman sila kumakain ng junk eh. Yung ano, pare-pareho yung pwede natin langhapin.
Mm-mm.
Kasi yung kinakain ng mga puno, ng mga iba-ibang living entity, ganun din dapat yung ating kainin para lumakas at lumusog yung ating mga katawan. So isip-isip na naman sila.
Food from nature.
Tama, no?
Oo.
Okay. Anyway, these are
Naubos ba yung breakfast?
ubos daw eh. Sabi ko sa kanila, sige, tabi-tabi niyo muna yung pag nagutom lang kayo.
Talino yung
Pero
mga bata.
mas maganda, tinagamit niyo yung talino at saka may reasoning.
Yes,
Ganon.
exactly.
Hindi lang bawal to, bawal
The
yan.
children are not exactly ignorant, no? They can be
They're
taught
very
wisdom.
smart.
They can be taught how to think wisely and to see things from a good perspective, di ba?
Mm.
So actually, yan ang mga as parents or in the family, sana umiiral yung mga ganyan guidelines.
Kasi sa
Yeah.
family nila nakukuha yung kanilang food habits eh.
Yeah.
And it
Eating
all has to
habits,
be,
oo.
this is the very,
It's very
one of the
important.
key
Mm-mm.
for the child or even us adults.
Mm-mm.
When we get the emotions going on our part, we don't tend to think
Hindi na
reasonably.
Yeah.
Kaya when you start to teach your child to be very reasonable and learn to hear them out, hindi yung ikaw lahat ang mapapakinggan and you gear them in such a way na kung ano yung schedule ko, yun ang schedule nila. Na kumbaga na you gear their lives in such a way that this is so common in a modern society now na you become so rigid in the way you do things because that's what the society is throwing at you. Eh. You have to be may status quo kayo. Eh. So you know what a child would lose in this situation? It's their creativity, their awareness. Kasi even the very senses that they have I was explaining this to this group again. Nung isang araw, pinahiga ko sila doon sa mga damo. Nakahiga lahat sila. Humiga lang kayo dyan. Yung parang,
Nature therapy po kami dito.
sabi
Kasi
ko,
marami may nature deficit
may
disorder.
deficit eh. So, nakahiga sila doon. So, ngayon, ano kaya pinagagawa niyo, sir, sa amin? Ba't kami nakahiga rito? Tapos sabi ko, ginaid ko sila. I had guide questions. I said, okay, you feel the sun in your face. Feel the grass in your back. Then you listen to the sound that is close to you. Then, lahat sila, nagpo-focus. Then you listen to the distant sound. Yung mga ganon. Alam mo, after 5 minutes of doing it, nobody's twitching, nobody's moving, nobody's kind of
Nag-calm down na
not
sila.
comfortable anymore. Huminga lang kayo, then listen to what is there.
Nag-settle into
You know, pretty soon,
immerse.
you see the exercise was about listening, hearing, sound. Not so much of the skin or feeling. It was more of listening and hearing. You sharpen your senses, focus on the sense of hearing. So that awareness, you start to bring it to them. Yung hearing nyo, may refined things na naririnig nyo. No? Kasi which many times, the tendency is,
Na-overlook yung mga ganun.
kasi they're so, high-strung sila eh. Yung very high stimulation. Tapos the next day,
Kasi
next
from
exercise naman namin, you know, dinala ko sila sa forest. Sabi ko, walang magsasapatos. Lahat tayo nakapaa. Then I taught them how to walk in the forest. Kung ano yung, and you have to, the speed is only 1/4 of your normal. And then you have to step on the side of your foot.
The blade.
Itong side ng paa. Ito, kunyari, ito yung paa natin, nandito. Mga ganyan yan. Tapos nagro-roll yan. Alam mo, naglakad kami ng 20 minutes, sabi nila, tinanong ko una tanong, may natinik ba sa inyo? Sir, walang natinik sa amin. May kinagat ba ng langgam? Wala rin nakagat ng langgam. Pero dinadaanan namin, foliage ng forest. Hindi mo makita yung trail. Puro,
Na may mga ugat-ugat.
mga
bato-bato.
ugat.
Tsaka
may
hindi
mga-
winawalis-walis lahat.
Hindi
yung
winawalis.
mga
Matagal na
forest
namin hindi
talaga.
winawalis yung trail. Talagang yung mga dahon nagkalat, ang daming mga langgam. Pero, sir, may, ganun pala, sir, no? Pag kayo tumapak sa forest, pag gentle yung bagsak ng paa ninyo, kahit yung mga langgam na sa paa ninyo, umiiwas lang pala sila. Hindi yung, pag natapakan mo kasi siya, nasaktan mo, hindi sa kakagating ka ngayon. So I was explaining all of these things, and wow, yun naman, sa paa, feel. The next exercise namin ng isang araw naman, sabi ko, iiwan ko na kayo doon, dala niyo yung sketchpad niyo. Lahat naman, you have.
About seeing
About
naman.
seeing.
Kasi we're
Visual.
trying to sharpen their
Visual.
senses again.
And then, you know, on the end of the day, I have them explain everything they saw. They sketched it, they spoke about it, then they realized certain things. That these things are not just nangyayari. There's a purpose and a reason to everything that's there.
Oh, you need to be open to
You
them
know, so
also.
when you have such experiences that you remember, so that you enhance, kumbaga you enhance and capacitate the children, the young students. That, you know, there's more
Yeah.
to this world, you know.
Yes.
You awaken, you know, you uplift also their consciousness para mas maano sila, mas nare-realize nila kung ano pala yung nasa paligid nila.
Yes. You enhance what is known. Is that something that's lacking to many now?
Oh, yeah.
A sense of awareness.
Mm-mm.
And then this awareness, and then
Helps them learn.
helps them learn.
Mm-mm.
And then it brings about what I normally use is the word sacred silence
Mm-mm.
for them.
Mm-mm.
Ano yun? Narinig nga niya, sir, ano yung sacred silence?
Ano kaya yung silence pa nga? Kasi
Tahimik
sanay na
ka,
sila sa ingay.
tahimik ka. Then, when you start to learn this practice,
Learning.
then you become aware of who you are as a person. Because sacred silence is a practice, a type of meditation that we all do all the time. But it's done for different reasons. But this time, you give it, make them aware of these components that they have and how the senses plays a part to it, and that you are the person that guides yours, that see to it that the senses are being utilized for it's what it's meant to be.
Oo.
So,
Very amazing stuff.
may
no?
mga practices
Oo.
na ganyan, you know.
Alam mo, kasi minsan ng parents, we think that, how to make our children happy is bring them to the mall.
Oo.
And then, get
With their
them
sights and
excited.
sounds.
Create
with
more
the
noise.
food, and,
Ano yun eh, noise
stuffs
kasi yun
and
eh.
everything.
It's all about, that's why they use the sense of, ito number one that's missing in many of the young people today, even us as adults. Because we live in a very, high intensity level of,
Too much overstimulation.
Overstimulation.
Actually, pag nasa city ka,
so we never
overstimulated ang senses.
become
Oo.
aware. Like, tinuruan ko nga sila maglakad eh. O, kunyari, yung isang exercise nga, yung may drawing,
Mm-mm.
yung, 10 square meters.
Mhm.
Pero, hindi ba tayo pag tayo naglalakad sa syudad, nakaganon eh.
Oh, kasi overstimulated, so we close down some of our senses para hindi tayo ma-freak out, di ba?
Yeah. So, tayo, nakaganon
So
tayo.
now we have to sharpen it again.
Yung lakad natin,
Oo.
one-dimensional yung direksyon.
Hmm.
Yung patutunguan mo, tara, magbilis ka kung kaano kabilis ka makarating
Otherwise,
doon.
ang gulo kasi ang dami.
Tapos, di ba, palaging ganun ang pananaw natin. So, I was teaching them an exercise. Okay, you see you're here, yeah. Yung mata natin, huwag ka lang nakaganon palagi.
Mm-mm.
Look to your side.
Peripheral vision.
Look to your top.
Oo.
Look to your base.
Mm-mm.
So what are you seeing? Steady ang mukha, ha? Steady. So wow, they realize, dami palang nakikita. Okay. Then sabi ko, you draw it and share this information.
Oh, wow.
So these are certain exercises that, but again,
For sharpening senses.
Uy, pwede rin
bring
sa
about-
adults yan. Pwede sa
you bring
adults.
about the awareness
Oo.
to the person. And kaya nga sabi natin it's sacred silence. It is when you're quiet that you begin to be introspective.
Oo.
So a child
And
can be
accepting,
taught
no? Mm-mm.
this introspectiveness in their life, and that they can feel, even as a young child, as a young person, the person within.
Yan.
This is the very essence of
The
why.
Opening of wisdom na yan
Yes.
sa bata.
And then
Oo.
don't force it upon them. Let them feel it. Show it and guide it to them. But let them experience that.
Yes.
Parang sila mismo will step outside of their world and look around and
Yes.
learn. Oo.
And begin to appreciate.
Yes. So,
So-
speaking of children, no, si Lakbay Gulay, meron siyang sinishare sa ating lahat. Napapanahon po ang topic. Naalala ko po ang kasabihan natin, ang sakit ng kalingkingan, damdam ng buong katawan. Sa ating pamilya, ang problema ng ilang miyembro, halimbawa ay anak, ay problema rin ng buong pamilya. Kaya't mahalaga ang komunikasyon sa isa't isa, maging bukas
Bukas.
sa mga pangaral at maging humble.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Kasi nga may support naman. Whatever merong suffering or whatever, somehow everybody gets involved in
Yes.
trying to deal with it, no?
Yes, and so like what Tito Toby's talking about, that silence, when we know how to do that, then we become very sensitive to
Yes.
all those around us. Na, may problema pa yata si
Oo, sensitive.
matulungan kaya.
The sensitivity, not in a way that it's I call it, you know how the sensitivity is a nature, is a natural thing given to us.
Oo.
This is part of awareness.
Nalilimutan lang natin.
This is part of awareness.
Yeah.
When the awareness, then the sensitivity gives reason, brings about reasoning. So it's not like it's all kwadrado lang ang tanaw. We have to be creative here. The creativity has been gifted to every one of us. We just
Kaya
need to
yun
discover
nga yung
that.
opening up to each
Yes.
other is so important in keeping the family together. No?
Meron pang mga bumabati, si Jen Torres, Ligaya Dizon. Sana po matagal ang programa nyo para mas marami po kaming matutunan sa inyo.
Ay, salamat.
And
Ligaya.
Cesar is greeting us, and also Milay says thank you. Dixie says, thank you for sharing, Tito Toby. It's a good reminder that our children need to get out of the four walls and experience our beautiful earth.
Yes.
So, Edenet saying, thank you, Ligaya. And Gerald G saying, yes, tama po yung family po talaga. Kahit ano pong narating natin, babalik po talaga tayo sa family.
Yeah. This
So
is the
let's
support
keep
unit.
our family strong and healthy and loving, no,
And
supporting
And for
always.
sometimes kasi we forget that the very family unit is the key. Sometimes when we fragment, when I talk about fragmentation here in the Philippines, this is so common amongst, there's a percentage of our families that are fragmented.
No.
They go overseas
yeah.
to work. This is the sad part. This shouldn't be,
Yeah.
you know,
Buti na lang, meron din
support
mga
unit.
sumasalo. Oo.
Yeah, may support units. But yet you will find, we have to look at it this way. At every life that is there, every human life, every life that's in this world is as valuable as the other,
Mahalaga.
as valuable as the other.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when we value life, we respect life. So we see to it. You may be a neighbor, you may be somebody else. But if you embrace that appreciation, that ang buhay ay mahalaga,
Yes.
pamilya mo man o hindi mo pamilya, pangalagahan mo ang buhay ng may buhay. So when you learn to see things, you become aware of such information in your life, such wisdom, then such a person will be living in peace. He will see things as clearly as possible. He has balance. He can see. He's sensitive to everything that's there for him. So
Tsaka masaya, actually, when you connect with other people, pag meron silang natamo na happiness rin, pati ikaw masaya.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're happy
Diba?
in
We're
each
happy
other's,
for others'
Which,
happiness.
this is our nature, eh. The nature of, tingnan nyo, second commandment. Kung ano yung pagmamahal mo sa Diyos, ganun din ang pagmamahal mo sa kapwa mong tao, sa
Yes.
isa't isa. So we need to really apply that in our lives. And this experience can grow and can continue to grow in our hearts. And this is what we learn from great saintly persons. Learning to love one another and to share and to show that love based on the truth. Not, never mind. Yung nangyayari ngayon, nakita mo yung galit ang lumalabas, nagiging sa buhay. So, Clifford, humabol. Clifford, magandang umaga. So,
And always think of your expanded family.
yes,
Yes.
everyone.
Expanded
Lahat tayo.
family. No?
Okay.
Pati nature.
Tulong-tulungan
Yeah, maraming
tayo.
salamat sa inyong lahat at sa inyong pakikinig at nagsishare ng mga informasyon.
Oo.
Sige,
Gusto man natin mas matagal, hindi ho natin kayang gawin lagi. Pero
We'll see you
kahit
next Saturday.
maiksi lang ang
no?
time natin together, it's always fruitful.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas!